thoughts on the challenges of the Ole Miss offense.
I mean, this guy's playing uncanny football when you talk about the accuracy, the completion percentage, the yards he's throwing it for. He's not throwing dink and dunk passes now. This guy's throwing the ball vertical down the field. Shots. And then when you do that, let's say you cover all that, and you do that, he can take off and run. I mean, you watch a quarterback run reel on this guy, and you don't have enough people in the box. I mean, it's the reason they're successful is because of the scheme and the players that are in the scheme.
Bulldogs and Rebels Saturday at 3:30. It's 83 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time in temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Well. CJ Beathard makes his return. That's right, back to the Jaguars' active roster. And while I'm sure many people saw that news and just passed it by this morning, it immediately made me think two things. One, Trevor Lawrence is more injured than what we realized coming out of Sunday's loss. But moreover, ladies, that play call that we've talked about multiple times now, where they decide to have Trevor Lawrence throw the ball to Dearness Johnson. If your quarterback is even slightly injured, don't you run the ball there? We didn't know at the time, obviously, about the injury potentially.
Well, he had already thrown the ball. Well, I guess there were 3 incompletions and then a pass interference. So he was already throwing not just on that play, Lauren, but on the entire 2-minute drill.
Yeah. So doesn't that make you even angrier that the Jaguars didn't run the ball though there?
No, because it's a 2-minute drill and you need to throw the ball. And so if he was that
But you still had a minute 40 left.
Oh, in that situation, yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Where
you are
on
the field. But here's the thing. Is
in that one particular play call.
But, in that one particular play call, sure. But at that juncture, again, I think that the argument and the pushback would be in the heat of the moment. You're not even thinking about what the limitations are. If you are healthy enough to be on the field and contribute, then everything is on the table. Now, with that said, yes, I would have run the ball too, but I've said that now for 48 hours. Yeah. And that is independent of whether Trevor Lawrence could throw the ball or not, which, again, he had thrown the ball on 4 consecutive plays for 3 incompletions and a pass interference up to that point.
So it clearly was not working, by the way.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say, Taylor. Thank you.
And that's what, I don't know. I mean, I think that time and time again this year, we are talking about, we're frustrated about something that happens in a game, and then we feel like maybe we'll be better a few days later, and it gets worse because we find out more information about the situation that makes it even look crazier. And even Jeff Lageman talking about that play was pretty much like that was an insane thing to call in that moment in time. And when guys like that, who are obviously very knowledgeable when it comes to what's going on the football field and what the ins and outs of what's going on the team by themselves are saying that also, then it's not us just overreacting about a situation. It was a bad play call, and you're also now putting something that you're talking about multiple incompletions with passing. You luckily got the PI, so you did get down the field because of that. But if that didn't happen, it would have been a 3 and out, and it would have looked even worse than what it is.
Or 4 and out, because you would have had to
go
for it.
Right. For sure, yeah.
But Trevor said post-game, Mia, that it wasn't a great throw. But now looking at it more with this information, he might not have been able to make the perfect throw because he's not 100% healthy in that moment. Am I reading too much into this?
It's left shoulder, though, right?
Yeah, it's his non-throwing shoulder. So.
I don't know if, the throw was affected by that, but I do think that when you're banged up and you're possibly, which we've already seen moments this year, Trevor, you can tell, is not, a little bit scared of getting hit. And so if he is banged up, maybe that was kind of something maybe he forced a throw that he would have taken a little more time on if he wasn't injured in that moment. We won't know. Trevor's somebody that battles through injuries. We know that.
He's not going to tap out.
Yeah, he's not going to Anthony Richardson his helmet. But I think that sometimes, and we went back to this last year, the whole reason I thought we got Mac Jones this offseason was because if Trevor is not 100%, you're confident in someone coming in. Granted, that is crazy because in that moment you're trying to win the game against the Eagles. But I still think that was the whole point. And then so we will see what happens throughout this week and this weekend. But last year, he had to play through 5 million injuries because they weren't confident in what was behind him. And good for Trevor for being that guy who rallies and goes through and like puts his body on the line no matter what. But at some point you do have to say, if you're not 100% and can't give us 100%, what does? Running the ball probably would have been better, but
I would also like to remind all of those of you who are already hitting us up on the text line, Designed by Lifetime Enclosures, the MyBookie Digital Studio,
yes.
that this is the moment that the Mac Jones cult has been waiting for, that now Mac Jones could play on Sunday potentially, and then if he plays well, what happens? I would like to remind you that here is Mac Jones's season stat line so far. 6 of 9, nice, for 28 yards, a sack, and a fumble.
Yeah, we saw him in limited action earlier this season, and it didn't go well.
I
that was against the Bills when it was a blowout loss.
It's a small sample size, but I just want to remind you, and I'm not saying that if Trevor can't go on Sunday, I don't believe Mac Jones would do an admirable job, but let's just remember the context of all of this, okay? Yeah. Like, he is the number 2. Doug Peterson reiterated that this morning. This is not quarterback controversy. This is a matter of needing insurance, much like the fact that, and this one flew under the radar for many, they added a long snapper to the practice squad yesterday. And then today, Doug Peterson kind of pushed back a little bit and then was like, yeah, well, Ross is sore. And last year when he was hurt, we didn't want to get, caught without an insurance policy. I mean, that's another one that kind of just flies under the radar. Yeah. So it's about having the backup. But if you are so focused on the quarter, or whoever the player is needs to be 100% healthy so that we can operate at max efficiency and our depth is better than it was last year, then I'm curious to see when and if you press that button, not just for the quarterback, but for any position across the board.
Yeah, I mean, we're in week 10. Nobody is healthy right now, to be honest, also. We saw Patrick Mahomes, practically break his leg the other night and then come back out and do what he does. So guys are battling through this week by week, but I do think at some point you also just have to make the right decisions during the game to benefit that quarterback. If your quarterback can't do what he does best at the highest of level, then you adjust your game plan. And that's been the biggest problem one of the biggest problems with the Jaguars all season is they haven't adjusted. And so I don't have the confidence that they will make any plans to try and help Trevor if he isn't 100%.
It's going to be interesting to see over the next few days.
By the way, their pass rush in Minnesota is not fun to go up against.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
A hurt quarterback is not going to be fun to go against.
Yeah, we'll see the next few days. Does Trevor practice in a limited fashion? That's what I would expect, at least for today. But then over the next 2 days, what does that look like? Doug Peterson did meet with media this morning, and John Shipley asked Doug why Sam Darnold is finally clicking with the Vikings.
What makes... say that, start again.
Sam Darnold's seeming to click finally this season.
Oh, yeah.
First time in his career, first round pick. Why? Why is this the time for him?
Justin Jefferson? Because you're thinking it. I think the talent around him, that helps, right? I mean, just having the run game, the defense, the way the defense is played.
Yeah, not John Shipley, by the way. JP Shadrick.
I think, I love how he goes, oh, yeah. When you hear him say that Sam Darnold, you hear him register what he's asking you. But, yeah, I mean, so also, by the way, you have a guy that looks like he's trending to potentially be a guy like Justin Jefferson and Brian Thomas Jr. How about use him more than 4 times a game? That might help you a little bit.
Yeah, but you could also say the same about the tight end who helped you march down the field the week prior when you were forced to play 12 personnel and you played him 9 snaps on offense this past weekend. You could argue that for the running back who has been a spark plug for you all season. He had 8 carries. The list goes on and on. I've seen a couple of you take the tweet that I quoted Doug Peterson further along in that answer about why things are clicking for Sam Darnold this year. He went on to say that the way that Kevin O'Connell calls plays is helpful.
I think KOC is fantastic.
I just want to present that into the conversation because when we talk about why is Brian Thomas Jr. not getting more involved, why is Brenton Strange not involved after having a pretty darn good career game the week before, why is Tank Bigsby, who has carried your offense 2 of the last 3 weeks, not more involved? The way that Kevin O'Connell calls plays is helpful.
Definitely. I mean, that's an understatement.
You could say they're apples and oranges, but again, it goes back to the question that JP Shadrick asked, which is why is Sam Darnold having success? Yeah. And it's because the talent around him, the situation, they're taking the weight of the world off of him.
Yeah.
The reason that they said, that Doug has said, that Brian Thomas Jr. wasn't more involved is because of the way that the Eagles were deploying the cloud coverage and a 3-deep coverage. So that's what he said. Obviously, in the locker room, Brian Thomas Jr. was asked, were they playing him any differently? He said no. I don't know exactly what to take. I'm not saying that Brian Thomas Jr. is saying that the coaches are not throwing to him and he should get the ball more. It didn't seem like that. But at the end of the day, yes, you're not getting the ball to your biggest weapon. You don't really have a sense of identity on offense whatsoever. And on defense, the guys that do make plays tend to be off the field at times.
And the most important moments.
Yeah, so someone make it make sense on offense or defense, please. And now, your long snapper potentially injured. On the plus side, though, as far as special teams go, Devin Duvernay was designated for a return, and so he was able to have the 21-day practice window open today. Hopefully he can play on Sunday and we don't see Austin Trammell in a return situation.
Well, I mean, the question is, though, is Devin Duvernay going to become your wide receiver 3?
Yeah.
I mean, Doug Peterson said this morning as well that Gabe Davis is trending in the right direction to return. But at the same time, my question would be, how healthy is he? Are you limiting his snap count? Is Devin Duvernay going to just be a returner? Do you work him in as a wide receiver first? So I think it's still on the table potentially.
I think Trammell had some moments in the receiving game last week that obviously I felt like I saw more positive light than in the return game. So maybe you want Devin Duvernay more in the return game and throw Trammell when you need to in the receiving game, because he had a couple big catches in those moments. Sometimes those guys just can't do it when it's all on you. And especially with the new return rules and all of this, it's a little different for some of these people. And that's the Velus Jones situation. It was like, that's all he did in college. And then for some reason hasn't been able to do it in the NFL. I think it's more of a mental thing for some of these guys.
It certainly can be. The speed of the game obviously is increased when you go from college to the NFL. It feels like this team is grasping at straws. Maybe we also feel like we're grasping at straws to try and figure it all out because it feels like when they take a step in the right direction, then they take 2 steps back. Yeah. And I think that's a Paula Abdul song, right? Like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But that is what it feels like to this point in time. A year ago, the Jaguars had 6 wins as we sat here through 9 games. And now, obviously, only 2. Yeah. So Parker Washington, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., that's what you'd like to see as far as your starting 3 receivers. Gabe Davis, I think, has been maybe not the biggest disappointment of everything this season, but definitely one of the bigger disappointments.
Yeah. And I think we could go through a long list of probably disappointments, but I do think that in those, Doug and Ryan Nielsen would be included in the list of disappointments. And to me, when you look back at that Eagles game, Sirianni is a hot mess disaster when it comes to in-game decisions, and he outcoached the Jags at the end of the game, and that's embarrassing.
Well, you could also argue the Jags outcoached themselves because we'll bring it back to the top. Why didn't you run the ball and try to run some clock?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you got embarrassed and made Nick Sirianni look like he was the better coach for a moment at the end of the game because
neither one looked like good coaches to me.
Can you imagine if the Jags had scored there and the Eagles lose?
Yeah.
And that's a prime example.
I can't imagine it.
It's
a wonderful world this week.
That's a prime example of what we talked with Ashlyn Sullivan about on the kickoff show earlier in the day on Sunday. And it's the conversation that, to your point, that we're grasping at straws, that we keep hammering home, which is you need to have a standard. If you don't have a standard, you don't have culture. Identity, culture, very important. If you're not reaching that standard, you need to be held accountable. It wouldn't have mattered at that point if the Eagles were 5-3 and still 2 games back or 1 game back, whatever it would be, of the Washington Commanders, and still in the hunt for a wild card spot. Ultimately, if the coach is not living up to the expectation, ultimately, if the system is failing, then you need to evaluate it. And all of that speaks to the big picture here in Jacksonville and trying to identify, as we do each and every day here on the Superstation, what exactly is plaguing your Jacksonville Jaguars.
So many things. That's the real answer. All right, when we return, Taylor Dahl has a tangent, and then we'll get it to some college football as the first college football playoff rankings were revealed last night. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Get entertaining insight on Sunday's games all day Monday.
They came together as a team.
Sink your teeth into Dandy Foods postgame Monday.
It is a game.
Makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff on 1010XL.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Mia here for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that has your back. No fluff, no second guessing, just straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we have you covered. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That'll double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders have been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays. Yup, you heard that right. There is a new risk-free odds boost each and every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Stick around for Mia's MyBookie midday picks and maybe come up with some ideas for who you can play on Thursday using promo code 1010XL only with MyBookie.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. I've heard people selling diamonds saying they have high-quality diamonds at rock-bottom prices. Can that happen?
Frank, that'd be like a Mercedes dealer saying they sold at the same price as a Yugo. That just doesn't happen in any industry, and people who believe it are always the ones looking for something too good to be true, and they normally find out later it was. In diamonds, when you talk about higher-quality diamonds with credible diamond grading reports from GIA, AGS, or Forevermark, the prices are higher, but so is the quality and value. Now, for a customer to understand that, they have to try to learn things like going to the internet, but they're going to get confused because they don't have an expert to ask questions to. The best way to get answers is to come in one of our stores and ask one of our professionals what those questions are and have them explain real diamonds to you. The result will be you'll understand more about a diamond's quality, price, and value by coming in.
Underwood Jewelers in San Marco, in Avondale, and at the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida, and don't let the state decide your fate.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
When mice and rats show up in your space, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents, and they'll keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so do we. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barra here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barra Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to barriorthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barra Orthopedics.
When you want to be heard, send your opinion to the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Thank you for believing in me when the bosses didn't give me a chance.
641-1010. No texting and driving. Get your thoughts heard on 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Pickin' here with a message from Zero Res. You gotta just love this time of the year as we reflect on the things that matter most. Families, homes, the holidays, and of course football. They're very grateful for you all, the good people of Jacksonville, and they want to thank you. So get ready for the holidays. Book today, and Zero Res will clean your carpets for only $49 a room. Plus, they'll give you 25% off your tile cleaning. This one fills up fast, so book now on both carpet and tile. Zero Res, fill it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Lauren Brooks for Big Chief Tire. Right now, Big Chief is offering 6-month financing with their CFNA card, plus $50 off your first purchase. With no interest for 6 months, it's the perfect time to take care of your vehicle's needs, whether that's new tires, brakes, or other services. Their skilled technicians are here to help get you back on the road safely and affordably. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to apply and take advantage of this great deal. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Trevor Lawrence is meeting with the media right now, and his plan is to play on Sunday against the Vikings. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone.
Not at all.
Yeah, I think for a lot of you, when you got the notification on your phone that Trevor Lawrence is the one at the podium, I don't think it was a surprise. We saw that throughout the course of a 6-week stretch in which he battled injuries to his head, shoulder, knees, and toes. And not a surprise that he's standing at the podium right now as we talk to you.
Yeah, I saw, it reminded me the one game where he got rolled up on last year when kind of like started everything, all of the injuries it felt like, also all of the losing. Someone posted that a few weeks ago and it was like this moment like felt like it changed everything because after that they've won 3 games. It's just wild to think about that.
It really is. All right now Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
Got some interesting numbers now through 9 weeks of the NFL. And we were talking about this, Lauren, yesterday about we can't believe it's already week 10. It's just football season. We wait all year for it to get here. And then it gets here and you're like, oh.
Yeah, we wait 9 months and then in a blink of an eye, it's here. It's already halfway through for the NFL, but more than
college
halfway.
Football.
We have like 4 more games as far as before the postseason.
Yeah, so we're going to look at, we've talked a lot already about this, but it just continues the close games so far in the 2024 NFL season. We've talked about it here. It's not just here. It's league-wide. It's the most competitive NFL season to date so far. 75 games have been decided by 7 points or fewer and 65 by 6 points or less. Both of those are the most through 9 weeks in the NFL in NFL history. This is a crazy one. The Indianapolis Colts are the 4th team all-time to have each of their first 9 games of a season decided by 1 score, joining the 2019 Colts, the 2016 Lions, and the 2015 Baltimore Ravens. That is one of the more frustrating things to happen, and a lot of those are when you know it's directed at coaching because it's games that you are in. At least, I guess they're at 500. Are they still at 500? I'm trying to remember. But at least you have won some of those because I remember a few seasons ago, the Bears had 11 one-score games and lost 10 of them. And so at least it's not that.
Colts are 4-5.
4-5. So when you, all 9 games are 1 score, and they've won 4 and lost 5 of those. That's some of the more frustrating things to have to deal with in the NFL.
And they still don't know who their quarterback is.
Yeah.
Is it Anthony Richardson? Is it Joe Flacco? They have no idea.
I don't think Steichen knows either. I was talking to Trent, the Colts fan in the building, and I was like, I would not be surprised if things go terribly this weekend that you see a injury, air quotes, to Joe Flacco, and they have to put Anthony Richardson back in there because Steichen only at this point wants to keep his job, and that's what he cares about. But anyway, so bounce back teams through week 9. 6 teams that missed the postseason in 2023 have a winning record right now. That's Denver, who's 5-4, the Chargers 5-3. Arizona 5-4, Atlanta 6-3, Minnesota 6-2, and Washington 7-2. Since 1990, a streak of 34 consecutive seasons, at least 4 teams every season have qualified for the playoffs after failing to make the postseason the year before. So at this point,
not going to be the Jaguars.
Yeah, at this point, it looks like that'll happen again, but not here. 5 teams that began the season 0-2 posted a winning record in the past 7 weeks. Baltimore 6-1, Cincinnati 4-3, Denver 5-2, Indianapolis 4-3, and the Rams 4-2. And in 8 of the past 11 seasons, at least one team has made the postseason after starting 0-2. Again, not this one this year.
Not here in Jacksonville.
League trends, some cool ones here. With the introduction, we've talked about the dynamic kickoff. I feel like maybe it doesn't look as flashy as some people thought, but numbers are showing that things are up. 66% increase in the number of returns through week 9 from a year ago. 445 in 24 and only 268 returned kickoffs in 2023.
That's been such a non-story, I feel like. It was after week 1, and we were all excited about it, and maybe after a couple weeks, we were paying attention, and now I feel like no one even thinks about it.
I think people were more so thinking it was going to be like touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. That wasn't the point. Like, the whole point was just the amount that were actually returned, because the amount of times that it was just touchback, get the ball in the 25, it's over. And now you are seeing this 66% increase. But I think in people's head, they were like, oh, we're going to see all these scoring touchdowns on the kickoffs. And it's just, that was never the point.
Well, Pete Prisco has been pretty vocal on Jags Happy Hour about noting that the Jags, like many other teams, overthought this. That's the reason they paid Devin Duvernay when they couldn't realize or recognize or understand. You have Parker Washington, and also you have Tank Bigsby, both more than capable of returning the dynamic kickoff as well as punts. Now, again, I think because it was such a talking point of you need to have multiple returners. You need to have multiple guys so that they can't kick the ball away from you. Well, now they're just kicking the ball out of the end zone.
Yeah. And well, we're seeing, I mean, that's almost double, well, more than double increase. So you are still seeing a lot more returns and deeper returns too. So I think that's part of it. It doesn't say the average on here, but I do think you're seeing a lot more that are getting to like the 35-40 than previous years. It was more like the 20-25. So that's an interesting thing too. And another thing that I think a lot of people, when it comes to that, which I noticed this last weekend, if they land in the landing zone and it rolls into the end zone, obviously you get it on the 20 rather than the 30. And I feel like a lot of people have forgot about that. So that's been something that a lot of kickers are focusing on too. So little things like that. But anyway, some of the other trends that are going on right now, 45.4 points per game. It's the highest average through week 9 since 2021. 91.7 passer rating, the 5th highest mark through week 9 in NFL history, trailing only 2020. Only 2020s, which was 95.1, 2018, 2021, and 2019. So there's a trend there that it's gotten better and better as time has passed. 65.3 completion percentage, 3rd highest percentage through 9 weeks. 245.1 rushing yards per game, the most through week 9 since 1990.
That does not surprise me.
I've done a lot of my tangents on how the run game is back and how running backs are back, and I love it. I'm a run game type of person, love it. And also run the ball. 4.49 yards per rush attempt, the 2nd highest average through week 9 in NFL history. And then just a few more. The Baltimore Ravens lead the NFL with 445.9 total yards of offense per game. The Los Angeles Chargers have allowed the fewest points per game with just 12.6 this season. That's a testament to how they kind of rebuilt things this offseason, and Harbaugh, obviously. Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson leads the NFL with 120.7 passer rating this season. Saquon Barkley leads the league with 133.9 scrimmage yards per game. And Derrick Henry leads all players with 1,052 rushing yards in 9 games. He's on pace to hit like almost 2,000 yards this season.
By the way, Saquon Barkley named NFC Offensive Player of the Week.
Not surprised by that.
I hope that they picked him for more than just his backwards jump over.
I mean, I'm sure it had something to do with almost 200 yards from scrimmage.
It also is it's his 3rd honor of the season, and we did do our midseason awards yesterday in the National Football League, and honestly, when I was looking back at them yesterday, loved all the commentary, by the way. We did post those on X, Instagram, and Facebook, so if you liked them, you didn't like them, please leave a comment there. But someone commented, I can't believe none of the 3 of you picked Lamar Jackson as your offensive MVP.
Yeah. And I almost did.
And I came away from it and I said, I can't believe none of us picked Saquon either. I obviously went with Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. He is technically the NFL's rushing leader, but Saquon is doing what Christian McCaffrey did last year, which is being that rare cat who can obviously catch the ball out of the backfield and run the ball too, but be the center of an offense and not play the quarterback position.
If we would have done it 2 weeks ago, I probably would have picked Lamar. But after these last couple weeks, that's why I had leaned towards Jared Goff. But for me, it was between those 2 people.
Yeah, I can certainly understand that. And I went with Kirk Cousins because I think he means potentially the most to his team outside of maybe Derrick Henry and the Ravens of any guy that changed teams over the course of this offseason. All right, we've got a giveaway.
Well, Saquon did change teams too. Don't forget.
I guess I don't see the Eagles making waves in the postseason because their head coach is going to make such idiotic decisions.
But I think the reason that they have 6 wins is Saquon. It's that simple.
Yeah, I think.
With no disrespect
also
to Jalen Hurts.
I think like the revitalization of their defense too, because their defense was something
Vic
that
Fangio gets defensive player of the year at the midway point. Yes.
Yeah. Their whole defensive front, who's super young, has just gotten better and better, and that's obviously when you see a Nakobe Dean first interception of his career. Like, it's just they're setting all of these records in Philly on both sides. But yes, lunch on the ladies, lunch for 2 to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 2.
All right, caller number 2, 641-1010. We will get it to college football next. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Injured in an accident? Have mounting medical bills? Can't work? Don't worry. Zach's got your back. I'm Zach Von Rowan of Von Rowan Law. I will fight for the compensation that you deserve. Set up your free consultation at zachsgotyourback.com.
Small business, big target. DoubleCheck provides AI-powered cybersecurity solutions to small businesses so you can keep your eye on the ball. Book your free consultation this month for 10% off your first 6 months. Visit doublecheck.com today.
Mia here for my friends at Projax Roofing. Meteorological hurricane season doesn't end until November 30th, folks. If for some reason we should take on any more storms here in Northeast Florida and your roof should take on any damage, know that Projax Roofing is here to help. From the smallest of repairs to full roof replacements, my friend Mike has been serving all of Northeast Florida for 25 years. While we hope everyone stayed safe during Helene and Milton, if you need any help with your roof at all the rest of the year, call Projax Roofing at Fell at 904-338-1722 or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmaster since '68.
About you, but I don't want to hear another word about inflation. Am I right? I want to fight inflation. And thanks to my friends at Arlington Toyota, now I can. Mia here. The inflation fighter is back and saving you thousands at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Think you have to put thousands down? Think again. Right now at Arlington, just $500 down and $288 per month gets you a pre-owned 2021 Toyota Corolla. Or you choose a pre-owned 2021 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for just $500 down and $388 per month puts you in the driver's seat. Take that, inflation. But my friends at Arlington aren't done yet because you also get no payments till January 2025. Plus, Arlington's lot is packed with over 600 vehicles. You even get 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it. It's time to fight inflation at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Shop in person 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our first contestant, a stay-at-home gymnast from Jacksonville, Florida, it's Gwendolyn Pierce.
Thank you, Monty. I don't know who installed my air conditioner, but it hasn't had a tune-up in over 3 years. Am I cool?
Let's ask our expert judging panel. Judges? I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. You're not cool. Johnny, tell her why.
That's right. To keep your air conditioner performing at its best, you need a skilled technician to check your pressures, voltages, and air filters in the fall and the spring. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, our club members get 2 free visits a year to make sure that you are cool.
Can you tell me if my haircut is sexy?
You're better off not asking.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by November 7th.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 6, 1981, Los Angeles Dodgers starting pitcher Fernando Valenzuela became the first rookie in MLB history to win the National League Cy Young Award.
Big Sur's here. My cigars are back in stock at Island Girl Gate Parkway. Buy a box and I will autograph it for you. Island Girl Gate Parkway is the place to enjoy a great cigar selection, a full bar, enjoy a daily happy hour from noon to 7 and all day Sunday. Enjoy college and NFL games from noon to 6. When you buy 5 cigars, you get 1 free. Plus, live music Friday and Saturday nights. For upcoming events, follow Island Girl Gate Parkway on Instagram and Facebook at islandgirl.gateparkway.
Monday, November 11th is Veterans Day, and we'll be honoring those who have served our nation all day and night at String Sports Brewery in Springfield with a free barbecue sandwich, side, and a beer. That's for all veterans and active duty military members anytime on Veterans Day. Plus, our show will be there live from 4 to 6, thanks to our friends at Firewatch, which was created to address veteran suicide prevention, and the Cohen Clinic at Centerstone that offers outpatient mental health for active duty, post 9/11 veterans and military families. So come to Strings on Veterans Day.
Total Wine and More is having a Taste of Town November 8th and 9th from noon to 6 both days. Enjoy great liquor brands, craft beer, and more. Brackish Vodka is excited to announce 6 additional flavors, and all can be sampled and purchased at the Total Wine and More Taste of Town November 8th and 9th. Come to Total Wine at the Town Center and sample great local brands. Brackish Vodka is a proud partner of the Jaguars and proud to be supporting the Taste of Town.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
The Jaguars traded left tackle Cam Robinson last Tuesday to the Minnesota Vikings. The Jags will see Robinson on Sunday when Minnesota visits Jacksonville. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson was asked this morning if it's awkward to face a player you traded just over a week ago.
Yeah, I mean, you think about that kind of stuff, but it's the NFL. Can't control the schedule, can't control, that sort of thing. But I know for him coming back, we'll probably feel a little bit awkward, I guess. But he's a pro. He's going to do everything he can to get himself ready to play. He'll be excited.
Doug Peterson this morning on Cam Robinson. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mio O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Wednesday afternoon. All right, we've talked some NFL. I want to get it to college football. Ladies, are you familiar with the blue chip ratio? The blue chip ratio.
I am. Give us the numbers.
So I will tell you that means that the college football teams that can win a national title have more 4 and 5 stars than they do any other stars.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, last night the college football rankings, the first ones came out. I know everyone was locked into that. And
we had it on TV too.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I saw multiple people being
like, people are locked in.
Here's the thing. Take out the other big events of the evening in our country. And I feel like, I don't want to say apathy, but I feel like the interest in the rankings isn't quite at the level that it was the last few years when there were only 4 teams in the projected field. And that's okay, because obviously when the all-important final bracket is released, I think the interest will be even more
bigger.
so and bigger.
Because so many more teams are involved.
Right. Outside of last year, obviously, where you had 6 teams vying for 4 spots, by far and large, it's been 3 or 4 teams pretty much locked in, and then maybe that 4th one is a question mark.
I also think the playoff rankings are honestly silly before the season ends, because you're putting teams that are going to lose potentially, and you're just going to have to change it every week from here on out.
Well, here's what's my biggest critique.
Gives them hope.
Yes. Here's my biggest critique. My biggest critique of the format now, because I love a 12-team playoff. I think it's great. You're going to have more teams with that opportunity. The FCS has done it for years. You have seen teams that are the 5, 6, 7 seed make a run all the way to the championship game. So it is absolutely possible, and I'm glad we've progressed to that in our society.
I can't believe that we lived so long
without
the vote.
it.
Correct.
Yeah. With a vote before even the 14 playoff.
Yes.
Correct. Here is my critique. BYU is 9th in the college football playoff rankings.
Yes.
But a fourth seed.
Correct, because they are the highest Big 12
right.
team.
Because when they decided it, each conference champion gets the top 4 seed.
Which I respect that.
I don't mind
I'm
that.
okay with that. But the fact that
And I cheer for a team that doesn't have a conference, and I don't mind that.
Right. But the fact that BYU is 9th, but then they're seeded 4th, it just is a little jarring to me. I understand why. Because then, by virtue, they would have to play the highest seed of those remaining teams that have to play in the opening round, which would mean the winner of Ohio State versus Boise State. So, respect to it. But I don't know. It's just very jarring for me to see a 4 and a 9 next to each other.
Well, I can tell you right here, right now, I can tell you the 10 teams that can win the national championship from last night's college football playoff rankings, and I can tell you the 4, so that maybe this will make you feel better, that are not going to win, according to the blue chip ratio.
Yeah.
So, Tennessee, Indiana, BYU, and Boise State. Those 4 teams, according to the blue chip ratio, are not going to win the national championship. So you don't have to worry about BYU and where they end up getting slated.
I would like to worry about Indiana, though.
I like that. My most surprising team of the college football season is number 4 in the rankings, personally. I personally like it. And like I said, coming from a team that doesn't even, at this point in time, the way that it is, does not have a chance to be a top 4 seed because Notre Dame, it does not have a conference. It doesn't bother me. I think that when your conference is the same in the NFL, there's teams that win their division and then get higher seeded, even though they win 8 games compared to someone winning 12. That's just part of the way that things are kind of sectioned off when you have divisions and conferences. This, I think, will eventually change. I do, just because I think that they'll see that a team like this, maybe that, what if they, I don't know, let's say they're ranked 14th, 15th, and then they get that 4 seed. Once you start seeing those, people will get frustrated. Or if you're just seeing people get absolutely smoked, 4 seeded teams just getting crushed, I think that'll eventually change too. But I do think for now, to start it, it's the beginning of this 12 team. And that's, to me, the most logical way to do it, is your conference championships are at the top.
Yeah, if they want to revise it and going forward, they certainly can have committee meetings about that. Here are the 10 teams that can win the national title according to the blue chip ratio. Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M, Oregon, Texas, LSU, Notre Dame, Clemson, Miami, and Penn State. Again, according to the blue chip ratio, you have to have over 50%. And the blue chip ratio, if you've ever looked at it as far as the people who have won the national championship, it always is in alignment with that. It does not mean the teams that can make the college football playoff. So a team like Indiana, a team like BYU, you can certainly make it. And also, if you're wondering about transfers and how does that apply to the blue chip ratio, they do not include their transfers because typically that knocks it down because there's only a few transfers that ended up being 4 and 5 stars, even if they end up being good in college. So it does not include
It's just the recruited players.
Exactly. So here are the teams that should be looking to fire their head coach.
Okay.
Because they are in the blue chip ratio as far as over 50%, but they either are around 500 or below 500. Oklahoma, Florida, we've talked ad nauseum about that.
That's all right. What's the recruiting ranking coming into next year? Something in the 40s, that incoming class?
I think it was like 43 or something like that.
That's all right. Let's just throw that out there. Continue.
USC, Michigan, and Auburn.
I was really hoping Penn State would be among those teams.
Penn State, obviously, right now is a team that
it's in the field as of now.
In the field, and they have a 61% blue chip ratio. In case you're wondering, the highest, Ohio State, 90%, Alabama, 88%, followed by Georgia, 80%.
Just because repeat. So again, Oklahoma, USC,
Michigan,
Auburn, and Florida. Those are all teams that had above 50% blue chip ratio,
right.
who are either 500 or below around 500 or below 500.
Those are also 6 teams that I would pair with Penn State, where you are questioning, even if the coach is not going to get fired this year, you are questioning the longevity and the sustainability of the insanity of doing the same thing over and over again, recruiting really well, but not reaping the benefits of it.
And also, in case you're wondering, where does Florida State fall in this? Florida State was 49%, so just under. So the inventor of the blue chip ratio, Bud Elliott, had said he expected Florida State to join in the group of teams that can win the national championship for this season.
Yeah.
And their ratio actually did improve with transfer portal players, but we all know where that stands now.
But the portal players don't count.
he said he redid the ratios if
To
he counted the
include
portal
the
players,
portals?
so just to give people an idea. And in that, Florida State's blue chip ratio was above 50%, which should make you even angrier, honestly, as a Florida State
All
fan.
I know is I need one of these teams that plays in the first round, if not multiple, to make it to the semifinals. Just because if this thing goes straight chalk and the 1 through 4 seeds are there in the semifinals, we're never going to hear the end of this about we didn't need an expanded playoff. It's fine with 4 teams.
Well, if it ends the way it does and BYU's one of those, then I don't think people will get mad. They'll be like, okay,
Even
well,
though-
BYU got the 4 seed.
Right, even though they would have, quote unquote, won the Big 12.
Yeah, I don't know if people would be mad about it because would they get in a normal year?
Right, and I guess then in theory you would have BYU defeating Ohio State,
I was gonna say.
which would be a big enough upset that
Yeah.
even though BYU was the higher
Exactly.
seed, you would be okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as of now, in case you haven't seen the bracket, Tennessee would face Indiana, which is a repeat of the Gator Bowl from a few years ago. You've got Oregon, obviously Georgia, Miami, and BYU all in the bye. The other brackets, Ohio State against Boise State. I would sign up for that right now just to
that'd
see
be
what
fun.
Ashton Genty can do to the Buckeyes. You've got Penn State, Notre Dame. That just
Oh my gosh, I
screams-
love it. Like,
that
who-
screams classic
who
Big
just
Ten.
chokes
even
the
though-
biggest?
Right, even though Notre Dame's not in the Big
That's the
Ten.
problem,
James
though.
Franklin or Notre Dame.
And then
If James
finally
Franklin
Texas
wins,
and Alabama.
Right, but the problem is if James Franklin and Penn State win, it's going to be like, we won a playoff game. Hang the banner. We are a playoff contender. And
The
it's
moment
like,
I saw it, I was like, give it to me.
And then you're going to get boat raced by Georgia. So who cares? I guess banners fly forever. So
Notre Dame would definitely force at least 3 picks from Carson Beck. They got to play Georgia.
I mean, do you
Doesn't mean
believe
they'd win.
Penn State's going to go undefeated? Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland, potentially, but it's Penn
Yeah.
State, so I also am not like guaranteeing that to be the final. The Texas Alabama, I think, would be so much fun, but I also feel like the playoff committee would not want it to be regionalized like that. Like I think they would want to have Texas take on a non-SEC team.
Yeah. I think another interesting, so Alabama and LSU play this weekend.
Yes,
They
this is
both
a
have
college
2
football
losses.
playoff elimination
Yes, like they both have 2 losses. So I feel like whoever loses this game, there's no way. Well, there's a way, a long shot way, but pretty much it seems like they're not in.
I mean,
could
the
you
Georgia-
imagine the first expansion and Alabama doesn't get in the 12-team expansion?
Kalen DeBoer's head is going to be on a silver platter for some Alabama fans. But yeah, Georgia Ole Miss, I think, is somewhat similar too, because if Ole Miss upsets Georgia, and again, that's a close line, but you're talking about is Ole Miss then in the playoff and what happens with Georgia? And Georgia has a much tougher schedule down the stretch than Ole Miss does.
Yeah. And then is Florida making phone call? How quickly is Florida making phone calls?
Again, I don't want to talk about that yet. If you didn't remember, Georgia plays host to Tennessee, then UMass, and then Georgia Tech. Tennessee's really the only really tough game.
You
after
can
Ole Miss.
always get in on the conversation on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010. You can also reach out to us on X, as our good friend Steve just did. And not Steve, our boss, by the way. Indiana has 44 players that had 0 stars coming out of high school.
Holy moly.
If that
Good for
doesn't
them.
make you want to root for the Hoosiers, I am not sure what does. I said that on South Florida radio this morning during a call-in. If there's one takeaway I have from the first college football playoff preview show, projected bracket, whatever you want to call it, from last night, it is when Indiana popped up on the screen, I literally said, Indiana in the playoff bracket. And Kevin looked at me and was like, yeah, well, they're undefeated. Of course they are. And I said, repeat what I just said. Indiana is in the playoff field if the season ended today.
Yeah.
If I told you that 4 months ago, you would not have believed me.
Yeah.
No, of course
way.
not. Kurt Cignetti has done such a tremendous job. And Curtis Rourke, if somehow, some way Indiana beats Ohio State, I mentioned him yesterday as far as Heisman contenders. Curtis Rourke is going to be one of the top 3 as far as in New York for the Heisman.
Yeah,
and no one knew who he was before the season.
We did. He was Nathan Rourke's little brother.
Well, yes, but I mean, as far as the
the
casual college
yes.
football
I mean, some
fan.
people may have known that.
He was really good at Ohio, by the way.
Yeah, and that's what I think that it wasn't
Peter
talked
King
about
knew who he was then.
changing
Midweek
a
action,
team the
baby.
way that you feel like those moments have happened, and that's why I think too we've obviously talked about Genty a lot too, and that what he could do potentially what he could do against Ohio State. That's why I think that would be so fun, because that's been kind of the backlash on him too. So how much does that up his stock if that ended up happening?
Right, exactly. And I'm sure y'all watched Ohio State, Penn State. That was a plodding football game.
Oh, yeah.
And again, that's Big Ten for you, right? Like one team's up 3-0 at the end of the quarter, and then it's probably tied 10-all at half, and then eventually you end up having Ohio State.
That sounds like Iowa.
I was going to say, I don't know what you're talking about, Lauren. My football team in the Big Ten dropped 42 last weekend on Wisconsin in a game, in a rivalry that, historically speaking, we've had multiple games in that series in which neither team scored 10 points, and someone did win the game.
Is that their second 40-point game this year?
Yes.
Because I felt like there was an early one. Because I remember making the joke earlier in the season. I feel like that's more than they scored all season.
Correct. Remember the 25 point threshold that they had to hit. So they dropped 40 on Illinois State in the opener, sans Kirk Ferentz. They dropped 38 on Troy, 31 on Minnesota, a 40-burger on Washington, a 40-burger on Northwestern, and now 42 on the Badgers.
I feel bad for Wisconsin because they got, obviously, Tyler Van Dyke out of the portal from Miami. And while he didn't have the greatest seasons there was one season that you thought, okay, this guy's going to be an NFL first rounder. And I feel like he at least could have done better than Braden Locke, who has 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions.
I honestly
I never feel bad for Wisconsin.
When Braden Locke popped up on screen and they started talking about Tyler Van Dyke, I honestly was like, oh my God, I forgot that he got hurt this year.
Yeah.
It feels like 10 years ago that Wisconsin played
Alabama
right, week 3.
Yeah, I was watching that game, obviously rooting for Wisconsin at the time, and so that's why it's easy for me to remember. All right, let's get into more Jaguars and Vikings talk. On the other side, we will have, oh no, not yet. That's at 1:20. Coming up next, we have to do Mia's My Bookie midweek picks and also continue the conversation with the NFL. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL on 82.5 FM.
In every game, there's a guy who just makes plays.
He's their best home run hitter, an elusive generational type back.
Listen for the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game. Experience the universal difference on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why? Their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, you can take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. So find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. I'll say it again. 2.99% year one rate. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Get off the ladder and put on the helmet with Gutter Helmet of North Florida. We are family owned and manufactured locally. Cleaning your gutters is a dangerous and dirty job. That's why with Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. Water goes in your gutters while trash and debris go on the ground. It won't collect like filters do. Gutter Helmet protects. Call now for 10% off and a free gutter cleaning and tune-up with your purchase of Gutter Helmet. Call 904-762-7779.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. Are you looking for a remix on the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich? The Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is a flavorful spin on a familiar favorite. Created with a Chick-fil-A filet, a drizzle of honey, pickled jalapenos, and a spread of savory pimento cheese. The Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich combines your favorite flavors with a twist, and this year it's back with a bite with a spicy filet option. Available for a limited time only, so stop by and enjoy one today at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant.
Mia here for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That will double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's Risk-Free Thursdays. Why wait? That's right there, a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now and get your double deposit bonus with MyBookie, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie.
If you're looking for the best in indoor air quality, I've got the experts to call. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jaguars, specializing in the best air quality for your home or work with the Remy Halo. Instead of waiting for pollutants to travel through the ductwork to be neutralized, the Halo cell releases friendly oxidizers every time your fan blows air, helping those in your home that suffer from allergies and other respiratory issues. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and start enjoying cool comfort and clean air.
Hacker here, and let me tell you, this is the stuff I never thought I'd say. I now weigh 209 pounds thanks to Awaken 180. To put that in perspective, I'm down from a triple XL to a large. My waist has dropped 10 inches from a 48 to a 38. I honestly never thought I'd get to this point. And one of the best parts now is that I get to be so active and play every afternoon with my 5-year-old little Hack. Now, none of this would have been possible without Awaken 180 weight loss. They don't just help you lose weight, they make the impossible possible. We're celebrating this Saturday at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach for a Florida-Texas watch party. Yes, I will be eating, and yes, I'll be drinking. Both are approved while losing weight with Awaken 180. Now, if you're ready for your own transformation, making the impossible possible, do what we all did and choose the solution for weight loss at awaken180weightloss.com. If they did this for me, they can do it for you too.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my successful back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Bold City Brewery invites you to celebrate Dubs and Duval all season long with a cold pint. Enjoy all their beer, seltzer, ciders by logging on to boldcitybrewery.com. Head to the production house on Roselle Street in Riverside or Bold City downtown and be bold.
Helmets and heels.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Truck drivers. Without them, our economy would stop. They're constantly racing against time, struggling against exhaustion, and being put under enormous pressure from their bosses, the big trucking companies. This can be a major reason for an accident. Discovering who's at fault can be difficult. We can help. Put our big truck experience to work for you. Call Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Need a piece of jewelry that won't break your wallet? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn has tons of reconditioned jewelry, always inspected by their jeweler. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Baker Glass. Many young Gators will have the chance to step up and make a name for themselves as injuries have plagued the Gator roster. The most recent being receiver Eugene Wilson, who announced yesterday that he'll be out for the remainder of the season after undergoing hip surgery. Napier spoke on the next man up mentality that these injuries have forced the team to have.
It's next man up. We proved that Saturday. It presents opportunity for some of these guys that haven't maybe got to play as much as they would like to play, and I think ultimately you got to view it that way. In this league, with the level of talent, the physicality, the explosive plays, it's always going to be that way. You got to have a deep team and with now in the 12-team playoff, it's even more important than ever.
Gators taking on the Texas Longhorns Saturday at noon. Hear the game live on 1010XL. It's 82 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
A little Old Dominion for you. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Okay, best line from the movie Jerry Maguire, in your opinion, Mia, was?
It's obviously show me the money.
What's the most memorable for
Most
sure?
memorable. Second best line, maybe, then? You had me at hello?
Oh, yes.
So Coach Dan Quinn on the trade for Marshawn Lattimore. I'd say you had me at hello. This was easy as Lattimore leaves the Saints and joins the Commanders.
I love it. That's a good one. Mia and I were talking about it before the show too, because I was like, I can't talk about the Minnesota Vikings without singing like the Lizzo song with the new man on the Minnesota Vikings. And Mia was like, I almost posted that when Cam Robinson got traded there.
I refrained only in light of, obviously the discontent and the disgruntled nature of what, may have precipitated some of that trade.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, for that reason, I will refrain. But once upon a time, when Yannick Ngakoue was traded to the Minnesota Vikings and I still worked at the TV station, yes, that was my lead on the web story.
Is he somewhere, by the way? Did he?
He's signed with the Ravens.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Doug Peterson
where
today
has he been?
said that it will be maybe a little awkward for Cam Robinson. I don't think it'll be awkward for Cam at all. He's going to stroll in here. He's going to get the dub and he's going to leave.
He
and
just
go back
literally
to
got the
Minnesota.
game ball. He's hyped.
And he's going against Josh Hines-Allen, who he's gone against in practice how many years in a row now. So for him, it's just going to be, okay, kind of weird to maybe not be in the home locker room.
Yeah.
But
And one person's probably looking to get paid again. That would be Cam Robinson.
Yeah.
Josh Hines-Allen already got his massive contract. Not saying that means that he's not going to play as hard as he possibly can, but there's extra incentive right now for Cam Robinson. All right, Mia, how are you going to make people money today?
Now, Mia's midday MyBookie picks. Experience the Vegas thrill from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
let's begin with some midweek Maction. It is back, folks. We may not have a sports equinox on our hands, but I have a Wednesday 5-pack for you that features one of the two games tonight in the MAC Conference. I'm actually going to go away from the Ohio Bobcats and the winless Kent State Golden Flashes. I am going to look to first place Western Michigan taking on Northern Illinois. Yes, that same Northern Illinois outfit that defeated Notre Dame earlier this season. Sorry, Taylor.
You didn't have to do that.
They are on the road. They are on the road in Grand Rapids. And they are riding a 2-game losing streak. And yet, at MyBookie, they are 1.5-point favorites going on the road against the Broncos. Vegas clearly knows something, so I will take the -1.5 for the Huskies. I also think Western Michigan has played with some fire. They only beat Ball State by a field goal 4 weeks ago. They only escaped Buffalo with a touchdown victory 2 weeks ago. That game was on the road. While certainly Western Michigan has played better at home, the caliber of who they've played at home doesn't match those scores on the road. So give me Northern Illinois -1.5. I will take a dog, though, on Thursday. These are two teams that pretty trendy picks, especially during that COVID 2020 season. App State taking on Coastal Carolina. Coastal enters this one on a 3-game losing streak. They are the home team, so they are a home dog. 8 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. App State, meanwhile, comes into this one on a 2-game win streak. The home team, a 1-point dog, so basically a pick 'em. Give me the Chanticleers to get right at +1. To the NBA, last time I picked the Orlando Magic, I think was the last time they won. RJ Saunders, correct me if I am wrong. It's been a tough go since Paolo Banchero went down. They are 5-point dogs taking on the Indiana Pacers this evening. Give me the Orlando Magic +5. Let's send some good vibes down to the Big O and everybody out there in Magic Nation. To Thursday Night Football, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. The Bengals are 6-point dogs. What does Joe Burrow like to say? The phrase that he stole from one AA run? Relax. I do think the Bengals, with the trade for Khalil Herbert, I think with some of the moves they've made, Trey Hendrickson now leads the National Football League with 11 sacks. I don't think their defense has gotten right. But I also think the Ravens are due for a little regression to the mean. So give me the Bengals at the very least to cover that 6-point spread on Thursday Night Football. And finally, because we can't leave without a little college basketball action. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights opener this evening against an NCAA tournament team from a year ago in the Wagner Seahawks, making the drive down the turnpike from New York City. Rutgers will be without its heralded freshman, Ace Bailey. They still will have Dylan Harper, their other heralded freshman. Those two guys were 2 top 5 recruits in the entire class of 2024, and Steve Peichel able to keep them in the Garden State, or rather lure them to the Garden State. That's why the numbers are a little deceiving, ladies. Last year, Rutgers averaged 65.4 points per game. Wagner, again, a team that made the NCAA tournament last year. Shout out to Max Rottenecker. Das Boot, once upon a time, the kicker at Ithaca College, now the head SID for the Wagner men's basketball team. You know I had to get a Bombers reference in there. Wagner averaged 63.5 points from a year ago. 63.5 plus 65.4, ladies. Quick math. What number is that?
I didn't do the math in my head.
65.4, Lauren, plus 63.5.
That's a lot of points.
That's 128.9 by my quick math. The total in this game is 129.
Oh.
Now, both of these outfits look way different than they did a year ago. Again, I alluded to it. The fact that while one of them won't play, Rutgers has a diaper dandy in Dylan Harper. Rutgers against St. John's in their exhibition game, I should say, because now we don't call them secret scrimmages anymore, by the way, folks. There still are secret scrimmages, but there's also charity exhibition games. Rutgers lost that game 91-85. Again, they averaged a little over 65 points per game last year. They scored more games in the first half of that exhibition than they did in any half last season. So I like the Rutgers Scarlet Knights to come out. And Wagner, I'm not going to play the spread. I instead will play the total. I will play over 129 for Wagner and Rutgers. If you are interested in playing the spread, seeing what it is, be sure to head on over to mybookie.ag. Sign up using promo code 1010XL. And, of course, risk-free Thursdays. Each and every Thursday, there is a new risk-free odds boost that you can get in on the action for. And if you push on a bet, they pay you back. What more can I say? It is the best sports book to visit if you are a Florida bettor, folks.
The NFL is the reason that there's no sports equinox today, by the way.
Oh.
Every other sport is in and on. Taylor, should we
Wednesday
just
night
start,
football.
Yeah. Should we just start asking Mia, like, all right, what's 35.2 plus 42.7?
Listen, I am not in any way a mathematician. My dad may be a CPA. I did not get any of those genes. My sister works on Wall Street. That all the genes went to her. But yeah, when it comes to making money and looking at some sabermetrics, maybe I can do math after all.
I'm pretty good at math, but when I'm asked something on the spot, my mind goes blank. I don't know why. Like I'm terrible at trivia because for some reason my mind just like forgets everything I've ever learned when somebody asks me a question on the spot.
I'm like that too, but I think also calculators. We have calculators at the palm of our hands now. So yeah, my dad always yells at me that I should be able to do math in my head better than I can. Sadly, I cannot. He was a math major, so I suppose he's pretty good at it.
I remember teachers were always like, you won't have a calculator on you all the time.
Yes, we will. Absolutely. Speaking of college basketball, by the way, tomorrow night, UNF plays host to Charleston Southern, so that's the first game at home for the Ospreys. And then JU takes on the Florida Gators in Gainesville, and then they'll be back home next Thursday, so a week from tomorrow, to play host to South Carolina State. They're on the road at Furman on Monday. All right, let's get into some NFL talk. When will the Chiefs lose their first game? Let's go through the Chiefs' schedule. They are obviously undefeated at 8-0 after the overtime victory against the Buccaneers this Monday night. So the Chiefs play host to the Broncos on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Did the Chiefs win that game?
That one, I feel like the Broncos can battle in that one, honestly.
There's a certain aggregator on X. I won't say his name because I don't want to endorse him. But he tweeted out November 24th, the Chiefs are at the Carolina Panthers. And he tweeted out that somehow, some way, this will be a one-possession ball game with 5 minutes to go. And he's absolutely right, just because this is the Chiefs. And all they do is play with fire and find a way to eke it out at the very end.
Also, we hadn't even talked about that. Bryce Young got his first win, and it was like the videos from his press conference after were so cute. I was like, I'm so happy for him in that moment because poor guy has just like been through hell in the beginning of his NFL career. And they were like, how did it feel to be like in victory formation? And he just had the biggest smile on his face. I was like, oh, good for Bryce.
Because this is a guy that all he did in high school and college was win. His whole life, all he did was win. And then you get thrust.
Familiar.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get thrust into this situation, and it's like it becomes unfamiliar. I have to ask, Taylor, maybe you just give him Justin Jefferson, and much like Sam Darnold, that'll resurrect his career.
Maybe.
I mean, there's a little difference in the height, I would say, between Darnold and Bryce Young. That could be part of it. All right, so you think the Broncos-Chiefs game will be close. The next week, the Chiefs take on the Bills up in Buffalo, 4:25 kickoff. You think the Chiefs are losing?
Yeah, I think they're going to play with fire one more week with the Broncos, although, hey, I could see an upset. I just don't see it coming at Arrowhead. Yeah, I think it's when they go to Buffalo, and I think that will once again reignite the Josh Allen for MVP, the Buffalo Bills have been slept on conversation.
If it's not, then the Chiefs, to your point, take on the Panthers. Then the Raiders at home, they're not losing in my opinion either of those games unless something drastic happens. And then the Chiefs play host to the Chargers.
That could
one
be fun.
Could be if the Chiefs don't lose to the Bills.
Yeah, I just read the stat about the Chargers have the fewest points allowed in the NFL through 9 weeks so far. So that is definitely probably one of the better defenses that they'll be facing.
And Justin Herbert, all of a sudden, once again, can throw over 300 yards in a game. That's allowed now. He threw for 349 at the Cardinals, 279 and 282 each of the last two outings. But at the same time, that's a far cry from the $125, $130, $144 when the Chargers were running the ball to establish it, not just in the run game, but literally establish that identity and that culture of Jim Harbaugh.
Lad McConkey's kind of like come to himself lately, and it's been...
Jim Harbaugh fixed Quentin Johnson.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That was another big one, too. And that was a surprise because I know a lot of people hated that pick in the first place. And I think that's cool. But, yeah, the last few games, it's been fun to see Lad, too.
But the Chiefs are sitting over here going, yeah, we just added DeAndre Hopkins, and he was a big part of our offense. Right, exactly. And so while I'd like to say the Chiefs are not going to go undefeated, there's a chance.
No.
There is a chance.
Because then it's Browns, Texans, Steelers, Broncos. So they definitely, it's a difficult path. It's not like one of the ones where you're looking. It's a first place schedule. Yeah, it's one of the ones where you're looking. And like I said, they have the Broncos twice. I can see the Broncos winning one of those. I could see the Bills winning. I could see the Chargers winning. I could see the Steelers honestly winning just because of some of the stuff that's happened there. They just got a new wide receiver too, another wide receiver in Mike Williams. Their defense has been playing so good. Russ Wilson looks like he's going back to the Russ that we've seen in the previous. So there are games where I could see somebody taking out the Chiefs, but you say that and it's just frustrating because they always sometimes somehow find ways to win every single game.
Are you suggesting, Lauren, that you think the Chiefs are about to pull a 2007 Patriots?
I would love that because the end result was the Patriots did not win the Super Bowl, and I'm fine with that. If the Chiefs want to have a regular season
you
undefeated,
will sacrifice the regular season if it means we get a new name in the Super Bowl.
16 games, I should say, for the Patriots then, and now it's 17 games, which I wonder if that last week, if obviously you're the number one seed in the AFC, do you play guys against the Broncos in Week 18? Do you also play guys because you want the undefeated record?
Right. Yeah, well, and the irony of that too is yesterday DeAndre Hopkins posted a picture of Randy Moss and Tom Brady, and in my head I immediately thought of that they didn't win a Super Bowl, Randy Moss and Tom Brady together. They went and lost, then didn't go to the postseason, then lost in the wild card during the time that Randy Moss was there. So if I was posting that, and I'm like, I don't know if you're putting a little curse out on the team this year, honestly.
Yeah, seriously. What was your favorite move, Mia, of the trade deadline?
Ooh, favorite move of the trade deadline. I hate to be that guy.
You're going to say Cam Robinson to the
No.
Vikings?
No. I hate to be that
Robinson
guy.
Harrison
No. I can't believe I'm saying this because I still have so many questions about the entire operation outside of who the head coach is, even though people in his own town have questions. I kind of like the Steelers pushing all the chips to the middle of the table. The idea of you go out, you get Preston Smith, the pass rusher from the Packers. You go out, you get Mike Williams. Look, I think if they had somehow pulled off the trade for Christian Kirk pre-injury, I think that's a little bit better than Mike Williams. But also, I think Mike Williams was given an unfair shake because ultimately he was subject to the Aaron Rodgers reunion tour, and he never fit into that puzzle. And so thus, I think that unfortunately that's a big reason why it didn't work for him in New York. He, of course, is also coming off of a pretty significant injury. So I do like what the Pittsburgh Steelers did. I do like what the Baltimore Ravens did as well. So the rich stay rich in the AFC North, which I think if the Bengals are to do what I just predicted in Mia's MyBookie Midday picks, could start rivaling the NFC North for the best division in football outside of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite is the Detroit Lions getting Zadarius Smith. You hadn't even seen a major drop-off since Aiden's been out.
Which is wild.
Yeah, which is insane because he was leading the league in sacks. He's leading the league in pressures and everything, pass rush, win rate, everything you could name. And so, but you still didn't see the major downgrade, but I still think it was showing that the Lions are like, we could win this all by making a move like this and still going to get someone who had the veteran experience also in the NFC North. So they're familiar with obviously the Packers and the Bears and everybody else there. And so I do think to me, that's one of the best ones that most helpful ones, I think, just because it does just add a whole other element to something that already wasn't totally struggling yet.
Yeah, and for me, it's the Commanders adding Lattimore.
Yeah.
Like I started the segment with, Dan Quinn You had me at hello, loves it. Obviously, if he can stay healthy, that's going to be a key. But you look at some of the receivers that the Commanders have to face in their own division, and the Jaguars certainly just saw one of those teams in the Eagles with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. It's difficult. CeeDee Lamb's in your division as well. So go ahead and shore up your secondary, and we shall see
and
if
Jonathan
the Commanders...
Mingo.
That's right. We shall see if the Commanders can
But here's
can
the
make
thing.
a run.
You got Jonathan Mingo, but if you're the Panthers, that's why I brought up the Baltimore Ravens. We forgot about the fact that the Ravens fleeced the Panthers for Deontay Johnson for it's a 4th, 5th, but it's like, let's be real, the Panthers are going to be picking at the beginning of that round, and the Ravens are going to be picking at the end of the other round. So basically it's like a 5-slot pick, essentially flip if the season was to end today.
And then they add a 4th with Mingo.
Right, so they basically got it back. So it was fine. So I give Dan Morgan all the credit in the world. He made up, hey, listen, there was a long-term play here. He got that fourth rounder right back.
All right, we'll talk Jags Vikings next with Paul Allen, the radio play-by-play voice of the Vikings. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda dealers. Every team has bumps and bruises, but a major injury can shake the season.
Let me know if he's ever going to play football again, or do I need to find me another wide receiver?
Listen for the personal injury attorney's Farah and Farah Injury Update.
Jacksonville
on 1010XL.
Mia here for Duck Duck Rooter. The holidays are coming, folks, and so is your family. Is your septic system ready for all those people in your house? What about that leaky kitchen faucet or that toilet that's been struggling to flush? Don't let plumbing chaos steal your holiday cheer. Call Duck Duck Rooter today to fix those issues before Aunt Linda and Cousin Earl blame you for ruining Thanksgiving dinner. Call 904-862-6769 or visit DuckDuckRooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Movember is Men's Health Awareness Month, so take charge of your health and vitality at Ackerman Urology in Mandarin, Middleburg, the Beaches, and World Golf Village. For prostate and urological needs, trust Ackerman Urology. AckermanUrology.com.
Family owned and managed for 20-plus years, Hidden Hills Golf Club boasts a unique and welcoming atmosphere. Visit us at HiddenHillsGC.com to book your next round on our Arnold Palmer signature course. You'll be glad you did.
The Money Pages brings you this week's Red Zone featured player of the week. Number 5, Jaguars safety, Andre Cisco. Andre Jordan Cisco Jr. played college ball for Syracuse and was drafted by the Jags in the 3rd round in 2021. Make sure to pick up this week's Jag Game program with a commemorative ticket of Andre Cisco inside. Download the Money Pages app for weekly specials. Money Pages, official sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's a Helmets and Heels Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
This is Corona Premier. It's the light beer you didn't know was a light beer. Until right. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now, Corona Premier, an unexpectedly light beer.
Imagine beautiful new windows and doors that elevate your space and keep you comfortable year-round. At Renewal by Andersen, we specialize in custom-built, energy-efficient windows and doors that are crafted to last. Right now, for a limited time, save 20% off your entire project. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free in-home consultation today. Restrictions apply. License number CGC 1527613.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome to ABS Advanced Business Solutions, your local authorized technology partner and home to Xerox copiers.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment. Hey, it's Prosper here, and if you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low fives, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis, express equity lines of credit. So call now, get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today. You won't make a house payment till 2025. 904-999-1508. That's loanpronto.com or 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler.
For birthdays, anniversaries, or any situation that requires something really special, visit the Kuhn Flowers showroom on Beach Boulevard and select something that you can't find anywhere else. 1010XL's Andrew Gibson here, and that's the direction I head, Kuhn Flowers.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks on this Wednesday afternoon. Paul Allen set to join us just momentarily, the radio play-by-play voice of the Vikings. As we sit here right now, how do y'all feel leaning-wise as far as Vikings favored by 4.5? How you feeling?
Well, the fact that the line has, I think, kind of held kind of steady tells you where the betting market feels about the Jaguars. Actually, take that back, Lauren. It is now a 5-point spread in favor of the Minnesota Vikings on my bookie. The total is set around 45.
I'm guessing maybe some Trevor news in that?
Yes, I would definitely think so. Of course, Doug Peterson, in case you're just joining us, told us this morning that it's still too early to tell if Trevor Lawrence's soreness and upper body injury could impact his availability for Sunday. I also think that ultimately at some point or another, Sam Darnold may show up looking like the Sam Darnold we previously knew. Regression to the mean, simply a slip up, whatever you want to call it. I think it's coming at some point for the Vikings. Not sure if it's this weekend.
All right, let's say hello to our next guest.
Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
Radio play-by-play voice of the Vikings, Paul Allen, joins us now. Paul, I heard you had Frank Frangie on your show.
Ladies, what's going on? Thanks for having me. Sorry for the delay of game. Yep, Frank was on earlier, and I asked him some questions like, what gets to the 2-7, face of the franchise type questions, stuff like that. I enjoy Frank.
Yes, he does a great job. Obviously, the radio play-by-play voice of the Jaguars. So let's get it to the Vikings. When asked about Sam Darnold earlier today, Doug Peterson said Justin Jefferson is certainly a big reason as to why he's having success. I'm sure that's what you've seen as well, right, Paul?
Well, yes. I'd be foolish to say no. But, we had a lot of Sam Darnold conversation up to the season, even after the team drafted J.J. McCarthy. They were never using J.J. McCarthy into the first game. They recognized if you have the opportunity to sit back and then kind of let a rookie simmer behind the scenes, granted without a meniscus injury would be preferred, that's the preferable approach. So McCarthy looked good at times in the preseason and in training camp, but it always was Sam's money. So a lot of the conversations that we would have there, I just felt it was too unfair for people to look back at, him as a rookie in 2018 or second year 2019. Then he goes to Carolina, expecting Robbie Anderson to run double routes and get the same result, or double moves and get the same results as Jefferson. That just the personnel and the coaching approach was dramatically different then compared to now. So Sam's done well, and he's had his problems, but he's done well.
Hey, Paul, Mia O'Brien here. Thanks so much for joining us. Another note that Doug Peterson made when asked this morning why this year has been the year it's clicked for Sam Darnold, he did note that Kevin O'Connell's system, quote, the way he calls plays is helpful. How have you seen KOC adapt as a play caller from calling plays for Kirk Cousins last year to now building this offense for Sam Darnold?
Excellent question, because, where now Kevin, he was the offensive coordinator for those Super Bowl winning Rams, but he was the 1A to McVay, and everybody knows it. So now in having Wes Phillips, Wade's son, Bum's grandkid, having him in that role here, I've kind of learned more about what goes into that ancillary role when you have a head coach who calls plays, you have an offensive coordinator. Kevin learned a lot from Sean. And now in his third year, the way he's able to set things up during the course of games, we're getting more touchdowns this year with guys absolutely wide open. And, to get Jefferson wide open on a gotcha play, that's not going to happen. Likewise with Jordan Addison, that they just get too much coverage. But Josh Oliver, an ancillary tight end, he has 3 touchdowns. That's a career high. He had 5 receptions last game. That was a career high. And he's always wide open. Trent Sherfield Sr., always wide open. Brandon Powell, same thing. So Kevin's done really good, really well at analyzing the personnel for the situation and timing of the game and getting exactly what he wants with his, third, fourth, or fifth option.
Yeah, Paul, Taylor Dahl here. When you're talking about that offense, because KOC and Justin Jefferson are big talking points, obviously, but other guys you just mentioned, and then now you're also getting TJ Hawkinson back, obviously kind of in a limited role last week, but I would guess that would just keep upping as the season goes on. How do you picture this offense now, even with the addition of Hawkinson on something that's been running so well?
Well, if you eliminate the quarterback, all right, the starting quarterback, I can argue that Aaron Jones is every bit as important to this offense as Justin Jefferson. And my example would be off our London game where they beat the Jets, but Jones goes down in the second quarter, and the Jets with a very nice front four and a good front seven with a couple of nice corners. They basically said, we don't think Ty Chandler is going to run for more than 3 yards a carry, so we're going to rush 4 and drop 7. And Sam had his problems without Jones. Now, when Jones is in there, you have to account for him in a different way than Ty Chandler or Cam Akers. And with Hawkinson's return, what it's eventually going to mean is, once he plays more than half the game, you have to account for TJ Hawkinson because he's unique in that he's tall and he's fast and he's a very good route runner. So the offensive weapons here with Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, and Jalen Naylor. I mean, in his third or fourth year, Jalen has 4 touchdowns. It helps overcome losing left tackle Christian Darrisaw. Now the former Jag Cam Robinson, he's 1 game into it here, and for the most part played pretty well. But to replace Darrisaw with Robinson, that was a keen move by the general manager here to keep the offense to the level they expect it to play.
Paul Allen with us, the play-by-play voice of the Vikings. All right, Paul. Danielle Hunter goes to the Texans. Jonathan Grenard goes to the Vikings. Yet Grenard has more sacks than Danielle Hunter does to this point in the season. How excited have you been to see him?
Well, he's markedly better than I ever knew. With all due respect to the AFC, I'm really into following the Vikings, watching the All-22 stuff like that. Likewise for the NFC North, and then kind of in outside fashion the rest of the NFC. I don't really, get ready for these AFC teams until we have games to call. So I know Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. I know they're good, but until you really get into it, you just have no idea, specifically last year, how good those guys are. So with that said, I had no idea how good Jonathan Grenard was. His work against the run is fantastic. I didn't know that. He had 10.5 sacks last year, 7 this year, but he's really, really scrappy against the run. Andrew Van Ginkel has 2 pick sixes this year. He has 5 defensive touchdowns in his career. I knew he was smart because I was told that, but I didn't know he was that athletic. One of the big keys to our defense, in fact, the biggest key perhaps, is Blake Cashman. He was another guy they got from Houston. He was leading the team in tackles. He was sacking the quarterback, picking off passes. His drops, middle of the field, were high end. And ever since he's been missing games with a turf toe, he's missed 3 in a row. Up to that Colts game, we were giving up 251 on the ground. We gave up 251 rushing yards the 2 games he missed. We gave up 257 the previous 4 games in which he played. So I hope Blake plays this week. He might be the straw that mixes that proverbial drink. Grenard's fantastic, but Cashman's incredibly valuable.
You can find Paul Allen on X at PA on the mic. I actually have a doubleheader of questions for you, Paul. Let's go big picture here first. If I told you in July that the Minnesota Vikings would be 6-2, you would say the reason that they are 6-2 back in July would be blank.
It would be the offense able to stay consistent and explosive, and the defense improving exponentially from the previous season. Both have happened.
So largely exactly what you expected this outfit to be, not a matter of, hey, we didn't expect Brian Flores' defense to do what it's done. We thought they'd take a step back from Danielle Hunter. Not sure about Sam Darnold. So basically everything you guys thought could happen in July has happened.
Well, I wouldn't go that. I wouldn't go that far, quite honestly. It's like this season, and doing what we do with radio, we will get pressed to make season predictions and put a number on it. And I generally acquiesce and I'll come up with something. I couldn't figure it out this year with the Vikings. So here's what I said is I've done this long enough. If God gave me the gift of discernment, I've seen enough to know what a playoff team looks like and how a playoff team acts in training camp, preseason, and up to a season. So I told everybody who would listen, I don't know if it's going to be a 9-win team or a 13-win team, but this is a playoff team. We're tripping out way too much on the quarterback because the Jets and Carolina count, but they don't count in this situation with these players. Defensively, very veteran-laden in the secondary, unlike last year, where they have Byron Murphy Jr., the only guy to get a pick six off Trevor Lawrence, and Shaq Griffin and Stephon Gilmore. Now, Stephon's right at the end, but he's super smart. Shaq Griffin in the second half of his career, he's super smart. So that really, really has helped this year because our corners last year had some real problems. So I didn't know what kind of a season it was going to be win total-wise, but I knew the Vikings would make the playoffs because they just have too much veteran talent not to.
Okay, so now time for the very specific question and perfect segue to it, Paul Allen, the play-by-play voice of the Vikings. We thought this team in this town was a playoff team back in July. Obviously, at this juncture, they are not. Since you brought up Wes Phillips, and while we have you on the Garber Auto Mall hotline, we might as well ask, is he a future head coach in the National Football League? Could it be next season?
Well, with Wes, I can't say that he's a future head coach next season. I think that would be too grandstandish to do that. I think the next step for Wes is becoming an offensive coordinator for a team where he gets to call plays. When you grow up around Wade Phillips and Bum Phillips as your grandfather before that, you've learned a lot of football and a lot of nuance to the game of football. So Wes potentially could be a head coach one day, but I think offensive coordinator and play caller probably would be next for him.
I did expand a little bit on the secondary. We talked about the being familiar with Cam Robinson and Josh Oliver here. Shaq Griffin obviously is another one, and it seems like the defensive front in Minnesota with the run defense and the pass rush obviously has looked really, really good. But I do feel like there's been moments where there's been some weaknesses in the secondary. What are your thoughts with that going up against what is kind of a very beat up offense right now, down several wide receivers here in Jacksonville?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I didn't realize how fast Brian Thomas Jr. was till I started watching some stuff he does. He's nice. Too bad you don't have Christian Kirk because those two together, holy cow. But nevertheless, there's a question I want to ask you at the end of this. Hopefully I don't forget. The answer involves Blake Cashman because ever since Blake Cashman, the heart and soul of the defense, green dot guy, he calls the plays, ever since he went down, the middle of the field's been open all night. I mean, it's just like people are picking on the middle of the field between the linebackers and the safeties. And it happened a little bit in the Colts game. It was really bad in the Rams game and in the Lions game. So the Vikings' 2 losses this year, just look at it like this. Yeah, the Lions might win the Super Bowl. That's probably the best overall team in the NFL, and I say that because they know how to beat Kansas City, and that matters. So that's one loss, came down to the wire. Then on a short week, you travel to SoFi. McVay gets Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back, and you lose that game, and it was tightly contested. This Vikings team can be very, very good. But defensively speaking, it's the corners, the veteran corners, they had some rough moments there for a little bit, but it seemed to bounce back in the Colts game. Let me ask you this question because I didn't ask Frank, and I haven't asked anybody from Jacksonville, and you guys are elite football minds. So like Cam Robinson, we now have 95 starts for him, including the postseason. The give from the Vikings was meager, and Jacksonville picked up 80% of the salary. I mean, it just is not. It just doesn't work that way generally in the NFL. And then we watch him play a game, and he's mostly good. Might have gotten a little tired late. But why do you think that deal happened?
I think because they told him the week before that he wasn't going to play, and he was upset by that because Walker Little was going to get the start.
Yeah, but they like Walker Little a lot, right?
Yeah, they do.
And
but not enough to start over Cam.
But ultimately, Paul, they're both in contract years. One's 26. One's about to be 26 if he's not already. The other one is 29, entering, or rather will be 29 next year. And so ultimately, I think this was hey, we need to know what we have in Walker, and we know that you are not in our long-term plans. But yes, what Lauren alluded to, the wearing ankle socks, not taping up pregame after being informed that after not practicing all week because he was in concussion protocol, he'd be the swing tackle, and then perhaps the reaction to that. I think that may have sped up the process, but certainly there is enough smoke to say that they were exploring trades. I mean, I was told by a source
back in April.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
There were teams inquiring about him during the week of the NFL draft. So that's not to say that there wasn't interest previously, but I think the actions of that Sunday against the Green Bay Packers certainly sped up the process.
Beautifully explained. Thank you for that. And secondly, about the Jags, you kind of touched on not what I think about the Jags, but like when getting this game calling depth chart together. I can't say that I've come across a team with a record like this that has as many first overall picks in the draft, first round picks, second round picks. I mean, there's talent all over this thing. There's talent and speed all over this thing. I remember Darnell Savage from the NFC North. Maybe he's seen his better days, but he's a smart player. So that just kind of surprises me. I'm excited to get down there and see what the Jags look and feel like. I've always loved the stadium. I love calling games there. Don't get many opportunities to. But, this Jags team, man, you guys know more about it than me, but holy cow, do they have a lot of high draft picks.
Yeah, we've been trying to figure it out all season too, Paul.
Like I said, Paul, when you said you felt like the Vikings were a playoff team in July, we thought this team was a playoff team on paper in July. But I guess in the words of Trevor Lawrence, the game is not played on paper.
Thank you, Paul.
I understand that.
We appreciate you joining us today so much.
Anytime. You guys are fantastic. Thank you very much for the opportunity. God bless. And maybe I'll see 1, 2, or 3 of you at the game this weekend.
Yes, indeed. Sounds good. I love how he said if God blessed him with discernment, the gift of discernment. I wish I had the gift of discerning who was a good playoff or who would be a playoff team and who isn't. All right, when we return, Becky Burley will join us. We'll talk some soccer. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
Yo, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T. Now, I'm going to keep it real. We could all benefit from a little something extra in the bedroom. Blue Chew can help. Now I'm about to tell you how you can get some for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. No doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Not even them nosy neighbors gonna know what's going on. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. And did I mention the chewable? Just like popping a Mentos. And they're made right here in the good old US of A. Now you're asking, how do I get my Blue Chew? Visit BlueChew.com and make sure to enter promo code 1010XL at checkout. Try it for free and just pay $5 shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's right. Use promo code 1010XL and let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of the solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. Lauren Brooks here as your hometown Mazda dealer. Their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional, non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And every vehicle purchased from Hodges Mazda comes with 2 years of free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Hey gang, Prosser here, telling you once again about Chad and Sandy Newman. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. They can handle that. You see, Chad and Sandy can take every problem you think you have and replace it with a promise. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. The success stories are rolling in. Mike and Lisa in McCormick. We inherited a family home that came with equity but also a mortgage. We needed to sell fast to avoid extra expenses on a second mortgage. We heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Everything they say on the radio is true. The home sold in 3 days for full asking price. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
We've spent a lot of time in our homes. I'm on a Zoom call.
Dinner's ready.
But we've learned that when we love our home, it loves us right back. Now you can keep that love going when you install energy-efficient natural gas appliances and earn up to $1,925 in cash rebates. You'll love endless hot water, faster drying and cooking times, and ongoing savings and comfort. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Helmets and heels.
Nick in here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, you need to get screened for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about getting a colonoscopy. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. Borland Groover recently expanded into St. Johns County. The new and advanced surgery center and medical office is open in Durbin Crossing. Visit BorlandGroover.com for a location near you. Remember, 45 is the new 50. Get screened today with Borland Groover.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
She's very comfortable talking sports and hanging out with the boys.
Mia O'Brien here, still providing the best multimedia sports coverage in Northeast Florida on 1010XL radio, video, and social channels.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Joe C. for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. There's nothing like the ambiance of a custom-built fireplace. The team at CSS can design and install the perfect setup, including wood, gas, and electric models, whether you want the elegance of an indoor fireplace or the warmth of an outdoor fire pit. You dream it, they build it. Visit their showroom or online at cssfireplaces.com.
You dream it, we build it. CSS.
Football fans, huddle up. Make Best Bet St. Augustine your game day headquarters. We're serving up the ultimate viewing experience with all the big games on our massive screens, mouth-watering food specials till 2 a.m., drink deals to keep your spirits high, and we're open till 4 in the morning for post-game celebrations. Ante up for your team and score big at Best Bet St. Augustine this football season. For the play-by-play on our game day specials, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet St. Augustine, where every fan leaves a champion.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O.
If you want high-quality water in your home at a fair price that won't scare you to death, then talk to someone who knows water and is not a pushy salesman. Contact your local water boy, Keith. I install premium equipment and can repair or even rebuild your existing system. In a business known for aggressive sales tactics, let me show you how my approach is different. If you've got any water problems, contact the Water Boy at waterboyjack.com.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson this morning on Sunday's matchup against the Minnesota Vikings defense.
I think Coach Fleury's just done a great job with the personnel. He's found roles for their guys. It's a multiple front, disguise, defense. They're going to keep, the lid on it. They're not going to, let a lot of explosive passes, which I think was a year ago, was part of the issue there. But they've done a great job. I think just moving guys around on defense. And they got veteran guys in spots that are leaders there. That's a physical group. It's another tough challenge for offense.
Doug Peterson this morning. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels. One segment to go here. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Florida coaching legend and now Jax USL consultant Becky Burley joins us. Becky, thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
I love hanging out with you guys. Thanks for having me again.
Of course. All right, let's get it to the documentary that I just absolutely loved every second of. SEC Storied Kickstart. It followed your path as you decided to take the first ever job at the University of Florida for the women's soccer program, and then all the way through winning the national championship in 1998. Becky, how fun was it to relive those moments?
That was really, really cool because we actually got to see the documentary a little bit early before it was released, and we did it on our alumni weekend with all the people who were in it. So that was probably like the highlight of alumni weekend for me.
Becky, as far as the scheduling calendar goes, we'll begin with the USL Championship playoffs, which began this weekend. A ton of great soccer going on. The Charleston Battery, the Tampa Bay Rowdies, a team that was displaced by the hurricanes that hit the Tampa Bay St. Pete area. Give us kind of a primer of the USL Championship playoffs right now.
Well, you picked a good game to watch. That's a good one. You can see all the games on ESPN+. Those two teams are the two closest USL championship teams to Jacksonville, and they're fun ones to watch. So I think this playoff part is always the exciting part of the season.
Becky, I know for a lot of people, as they are, when you get the team here in Jacksonville, that's your team. But as for now, when you're trying to find somebody to cheer for as these USL championships go off, a lot of times people kind of cling to players. Are there any players that have really kind of popped out to you through the beginning of this season and now kind of as it's led on throughout leading into the championships?
I'm gonna go with a team instead of players just because I was a big, big fan of the NASL Rowdies way back in the day, which I think this is dating me by telling you this story. But, the Rowdies, I can remember the Rowdies coming to my elementary school and doing, some juggling and some tricks with us as kids. And I was like, oh, my God, these people are really here. So my heart is with a team, and that's the Rowdies, until Jacksonville team starts playing, and then that switches.
Yeah, I saw on SEC Nation that was in Jacksonville, of course, ahead of Georgia, Florida this past Saturday, Tim Tebow talking about when we get the soccer team here in Jacksonville. I was like, there you go, Tim, rep. Becky, have you ever been to Porch Fest that I know Sporting Jacks will be a part of on Saturday?
I have not been to Porch Fest, but I encourage everybody else to go because it sounds like it's going to be amazing. There's a big part about like creating community within the club. I kind of just referenced it when I said something about the Rowdies coming to my elementary school. And I think when there's a presence around with a club around people in different community spaces, it just creates this vibe that takes the club to be something bigger than just a soccer team. And these are the type of events that make those kind of things happen.
Becky Burley is our guest on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. And you said it, Becky, a ton of great events that Sporting Jacks, you and the rest of the team will be out and about at. That, of course, included the second high school soccer media day last month. Have you been scouting any of the local high school soccer outfits so far this year. Anybody from Media Day stand out that we should have our eye on?
And let me just tell you that Jacksonville is and has been and probably always will be just a serious hotbed, particularly for women's soccer. I mean, I can tell you so many great players who have come out of this area who have not only just to great collegiate careers, but to great professional careers. And it's so exciting to see the level of that talent continuing to increase, because we're seeing kids on national teams at their age groups. We're seeing kids that are just really exceeding expectations all over the place. And, I mean, they have a great base to build on with some of the players that have come out of here. But, man, they are carrying that legacy strong.
Becky, how's the response been so far when it comes to the season tickets, and how do people get those if they want to jump on board?
I think the response has been great. And remember, it's just $25, and you can reserve your seat. And that is an amazing price to be on the ground level. You know, you just mentioned the documentary, and it was like starting something from scratch. And as hard as that was to start something from scratch, it's also something I'm really proud of having done and been a part of. And that's the one thing that I keep hearing from people that have reached out to me because of that documentary is like, I was so glad to be part of that, whether that was as a player, as a fan, as a person on our staff. Being part of a first doesn't happen very often. So I'm encouraging everyone to get out there and reserve their seat.
Absolutely. And I recommend to go watch Kickstart and go see that documentary. Becky, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. All right, RJ, let's hit the cool down.
Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
I know, of course, we also want to get ready to say hello to XL Primetime, so I'll keep it brief because I think Matt Hayes may have a chuckle about this as well when he joins us in studio. Mike Gundy with an all-time news dump last night. His apology after calling Oklahoma State fans
They can't pay their bills.
Yeah, exactly. Made that comment and issued his apology at, what does the timestamp say? 10:28 p.m. Eastern last night. I don't know what else was going on at 10:28 Eastern last night.
He was going through it.
I know we all needed a laugh on this fine Wednesday, so thank you, Mike Gundy.
I'll jump in, Taylor, because I think it was Cole Thompson who once upon a time said that he would love to see Mike Gundy as the Florida coach. Well, Oklahoma State is 3-6. I won't tell you then that...
you also picked Oklahoma State to win the Big 12.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. I won't tell you
the
then
mullet
that I picked
man.
Oklahoma State to win the Big 12. Go ahead, Taylor.
I'll cool down with what came from my tangent brought to you by Chick-fil-A earlier when we were talking about the close games that have happened in the NFL this season. If you missed it earlier, 75 games have been decided by 7 points or fewer, and 65 by 6 points or less, both the most through 9 weeks in NFL history. So a lot of close games, a lot of good football that we've seen so far this season.
And if you're following along with Jaguars beat reporters on Twitter right now, they are at practice, and you get to see the shell white helmets for the first time. Very exciting there. All right, let's say hello to Matt Hayes.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Matt Hayes, when it comes to everything you've written for USA Today Sports, I can't get enough. Can you write more, please?
I got 2 more stuff out today.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. I read every word.
Where in the world were you this weekend, by the way?
Off on assignment.
Oh, undisclosed location.
Just got things going on,
We like that. I enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma State, what's wrong with them? What is the landscape of the Big 12 with only one team in the first projected 12-team playoff
Look,
field?
anybody that calls XL Primetime from his tractor, stops on his farm, calls from his tractor, he can do whatever he wants.
I agree. I co-sign that.
He's my boy. I don't mind him at all.
But
man.
also,
Plus, I mean, to be fair, he's built up a little capital there.
Yeah.
With what he's done at Oklahoma State and how they've won, and they've won consistently. Are they having a bad year? They're having a terrible year. There's no doubt about that. But, yeah, I mean, talking about a guy that has done a lot for that program.
Maybe he needs to share some of his capital with his fans that can't pay their bills.
Right.
But what happened this year?
I think
what is happening in the Big 12 at large? Because the Oklahoma State is far from the only disappointment in that conference or surprise in that conference, too.
I think it's quarterback play. It's his quarterback. I think Arizona was a team that everybody thought would play well, and Noah Fafita can't take care of the ball. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the Big 12, and a lot of it revolves around the quarterback. I mean, look, Colorado now is a legit threat because Colorado has figured out how to protect its quarterback. So, and we talk about this all the time. It's the most important position on the field in football. And if you figure it out and you can protect your quarterback, which some teams in the NFL cannot. Some can. Same with college football. Then you win games. You win big games.
Do you think eventually how the 12 team is set up with those top 4 being conference champions, do you think that'll change, or do you think they'll ride with that moving forward after what the BYU situation is obviously the one people are talking about?
So let's say this. So I'm just going to throw this out. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying let's just say something like this happens where you've got BYU as an unbeaten going in the Big 12 championship game. You've got Miami as an unbeaten going in the Big 12 championship game. You've got them playing 2 teams that have no business being in the playoff, and one or both lose. 2 upsets. Mm-hmm. And then what are you going to do with the teams that went in 12-0? You're gonna knock them out?
Yeah.
No. So what you're going to do is you're more than likely going to keep them, and then you're taking two spaces away from the Big Ten and the SEC, who played much more significantly tougher. That was weird. A more significantly tougher schedule.
It's the Power 2 and then
and that's,
2A.
That's where the rubber's going to meet the road. That's where at some point, and very soon, a couple months after the playoff ends, when the negotiating for the format for the 26th season begins, which is the new contract, that's when you're going to see the Big Ten and the SEC say, we either want X amount of automatic qualifiers
for spots,
or we want, whether it's 14 teams or 16 teams, whatever they end up doing with it, we want all at-large selection.
Higher seeded, yeah.
Matt, I told them there are 4 teams that cannot win the national championship based off of the blue chip ratio: Tennessee, Indiana, BYU, Boise State.
I think if Nico Iamaleava, I don't know how he's saying it.
How does Joe say it?
I don't know how he's saying it. Joe he does it on purpose too. Iamaleava. If he starts hitting on a few deep balls a game, which he's been missing, they can beat anybody. Anybody. Their defense is that good. They run the ball that well. They just need him to start connecting on some key throws during games, and he hasn't done that in big games. I think once he does, then their offense becomes way more dangerous and way more multiple.
Should have lost to Florida, but I'll send you off with that. What's coming up?
We are talking about the college football playoff. We're also going to talk, of course, the Jags and the new white helmets, the new domes. We're going to get into that a lot. Also, we got Baloo coming up.
Oh, very nice.
Ooh, all right.
If you haven't heard Baloo in the last few weeks in the summer report, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, do not miss it. All right. Thank you so much, Matt. That's going to do it for us today. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. We appreciate our guests who have hopped on with us today. These heels are made for talking, and we will talk to you on Friday.
Over you. Yeah. You keep lying when you ought to be truthing.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why, their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, you can take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. Wow, I'm jealous. Find your dream home, take advantage.